All right, everybody. Well, we're a day away from the Globes, and I didn't post final predictions, so time to do that. Of course, I have to. I don't know if you can hear my voice, and I'm just come down with a head cold now. Of course, similar thing happened last year, right, right in the busy stretch, right before the Globe Awards. We've got PGA announced their nominees yesterday, I believe, or was it PGA or was it AFI, whatever it was. See, that's how I'm. Anyways, so yeah, we're gonna do some final globe predictions. I also right before I got sick here, got to see The Favorite, so I'll talk about that a little bit if I have time here. It's not. I don't know. Well, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. And then there's also, kind of a shadow over the whole globes this weekend is, some recent movements now in the Oscar hosting thing with Kevin Hart. Now he's well, there's a possibility he still gets in to do the hosting job. But anyways, we'll have to see here. Okay, so with the Globes, we're just going to kind of start toward some of the the smaller tech categories and all that, and kind of work our way up to the two best picture races here. And we'll start with that, then we'll get into the other stuff here. Okay, so first up is foreign language film. I think this is, I mentioned it the other day, just Roma. That's it. But yeah, I think it's Roma's. One of my things that I sometimes say about the Globes is you got to expect the unexpected. That's when you have your Aaron Taylor Johnson's win over Mahershala Ali's and stuff like that. So, Grand Budapest over Birdman for picture and so on and so forth. So, yeah, there is the chance that Shoplifters or Capernaum can take this one down, and if they want to save Roma something later, like screenplay or director, the only other two awards it's up for. But I don't think so. No. Okay, then we'll go into the score category next. I think this is going to go to Mary Poppins. Actually, early on I thought this would be First Man, but when you look at it, First Man only has the two nominations. Mary Poppins has four. And I think they're going to want to give Mary Poppins something. I don't have it winning anything else. Just kind of give that away. But yeah, Black Panther I think also has a legit shot. I can kind of see, to kind of not to be too cynical about it, but I can kind of see like a little bit of an outrage from some people if Black Panther doesn't take something at every award show going forward. But anyways, yeah, I think that one will take. I think Mary Poppins will take that one. Original song, I think "Shallow" from *Star Is Born* has pretty much got it all wrapped up. I don't really see the only other possibility would be All the Stars for Black Panther, maybe even Girl in the Movies from Dumplin'. I mean, they do, sometimes the Globes, they like to vote and give their awards to the people that they want on stage. And Dolly Parton, to see her on stage, I think would be a good opportunity there. And I think I can look it up here. I didn't check this ahead of time. I think she's already got a Globe from an earlier one of her songs or something. Let's see here. I guess I can double check that here. No, she's actually never won a Globe. She's been up. Well, let's see here. Got three nominations for 9 to 5, including song, actress, and star of the year. New star. They had back when they had that award. Then she was nominated for actress, comedy musical for Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. Then nominated for I don't know which one that one is. Traveling Through. I'm not sure which movie that was off. But anyways, so yeah, she's been nominated. This is her fifth nomination here. So I think there is an off chance they go with that to kind of disrupt that a little bit, but I don't see it coming true. But that might be something actually that expect the unexpected. That might actually come through, but I'm not betting on it. Okay, animated feature is going to be really just a two-way race here between Incredibles 2 and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. I'm sticking with Incredibles 2 on this one, but I think if Spider-Verse can win this one and then just keep going, I think Spider-Verse will get the Oscar too. It's having the more recent release date I think helps it. It was also like Incredibles 2 a big hit with audiences and critics. So they're kind of both on even terms there. Obviously, Incredibles 2 got a whole bunch more money than Spider-Man has gotten so far, but yeah, that's really the only differential between the two when you look at those kind of standards there. But anyway, I do think Incredibles 2 takes it just because of the Pixar factor and everything. Okay, screenplay race. I think this one goes to The Favorite. I think it's one they gave it 5 nominations, even without that director nomination. I think it's one they like, so they're going to want to give it at least a couple. So I think this one. Vice and excuse me, Green Book, I think are going to split a few votes for being that kind of comedic, kind of race there. Even though, yeah, the favorite is also in the comedy race. Yeah, I don't think the other two have a shot at it, but yeah, I don't quite see them going with Green Book for screenplay here. Vice, I think they're going to want to save for something else. So I think this one goes to the favorite. Okay, supporting actress. Yeah, we kind of mentioned this last time. It's really a two-way race down between Amy Adams and Regina King here, and I think Regina's got it. The reason I'm sticking with Regina here, well, number one, because Amy Adams just won a couple of Globes a few years ago. That's more, and they were back-to-back wins, so that was a little more recent. Also, when you look at it, if Regina King, if Beale Street had not been nominated for film drama, I think that would have showed a weakness in just the overall enjoyment of the film. But since it did get that drama film nomination, I think that shows that they have seen it, they like it enough to give it all that stuff. So I think they'll stick with Regina on this one. But like we mentioned last time, Amy Adams, if she picks this up, she could start on a track and just win the whole thing. I think for Vice. Supporting actor, I'm sticking with the IOU factor with Mahershala Ali. Even though Richard E. Grant, yeah, he's definitely I think gonna be Mahershala's gonna be looking over his shoulder the rest of the year here for Richard E. Grant, who I actually have Richard winning the Oscar at this point, but yeah. So I think the IOU factor with him not winning for Moonlight is going to push him over the edge, and plus Green Book I think is another one that they like enough they're going to want to give it a couple of things. I think this will be one of them there. Okay, comedy actress musical. I'm sticking with Olivia Colman here. Emily Blunt, yeah, definitely another one to look out for in this category. But again, 5 nominations for the favorite, only 4 for Mary Poppins, and I think Mary Poppins easily could have gotten into one of those song nominations, but it didn't. Yeah, and I think another thing we have to remember too is the Globes try to predict the Oscars whenever they have the chance to. And Olivia, I think it's a 3-way fight for Best Actress at this point, still with Olivia kind of in 3rd position right now, I think, behind Gaga and Glenn Close. But if Olivia can win here tomorrow night and then possibly win SAG or Critics' Choice and really kind of cement herself there, I think she could break through and kind of, if the other two split enough votes in that, for that kind of more dramatic performances, I guess. But I don't know. All 3, I think, have, moments of humor in them and moments of drama. So, anyways. Best Actor, Musical Comedy. I was thinking, I was like, man, this is going to be really tight between Christian Bale and Viggo. I'm starting to think Christian Bale is going to pull away here. Number one, Green Book itself, as we, I think we've mentioned a couple of times, the N-word controversy that Viggo got himself into a few weeks ago. I think the stigma around that, it's not as loud as, say, the Kevin Hart stuff, but it's still something that gets mentioned every now and again. Christian Bale, on the meantime, Vice has 6 nominations. I don't quite seeing, I'm not quite seeing this film as this year's The Post, where it gets 6 nominations and goes home empty-handed. I don't see that happening for Vice, but I think this would be the chance to give that film something. Yeah, but I think if Viggo can win this and really give a good speech and really kind of, not say make amends, but get the conversation away from his controversy there and go toward the rest of the race going forward, I think he has a shot to win the Oscar too. But I think we'll see about Rami Malek and Bradley Cooper in that actor race for drama. But I think at this rate, Viggo, I think, has fallen now to 4th place. I'm hearing enough word on Rami now. I think I don't know. If Christian Bale and Bradley start splitting votes, I think there's enough room for Rami Malek to kind of come in there. Okay, then moving over to drama actress. I switched on this one. I'm going to go Lady Gaga on this one. Again, even though I'm not as big a fan of the film or her performance, I just think there's enough narrative in the wind for her to win on this one. She will also, I have her down winning the song awards, so she would have 2 Globes tomorrow night. But I just feel like it's, there's enough goodwill and momentum and stuff going her way that she can still win Best Actress, even with that kind of gimme award for song, if that comes through. And if not, if they want to give Dolly Parton the win, or if they want to give Black Panther the win with all the stars, that frees them up to give Best Actress to her too. So she could still, I think, no matter what, she's going to win a Globe tomorrow night. But I think it's more likely she wins too than anything else. And yeah, I'm going to be mad at myself if I get this wrong with Glenn, because I have pushed her out front to win the Oscar and everything too, and I've had her winning the Globe here for a while as well. But yeah. Anyway, so we'll see. But yeah, this I think this whoever wins between the two, I think will get the upper hand, and then we'll see where SAG and Critics' Choice go, and eventually where BAFTA goes, and all that. But yeah. Film actor drama. I'm sticking with Bradley Cooper on this one. I can see A Star Is Born, winning the two acting prizes and eventually picture and something else, kind of like how Three Billboards did last year that had 4 wins. That's what I have for Star Is Born. Not to sneak ahead to Best Picture drama, but that's where I'm going that way too. Yeah, the big challenge here is definitely going to be Rami Malek though for Bohemian Rhapsody. It's a way to award the film. It's also up for Best Film. Similar conversation what we have with Virginia King, but I don't know. I just feel like Bradley Cooper, he's had 3 nominations in the past versus, or two, excuse me, 2 nominations in the past. Rami's only had, wait, did he get nominated both years or just the 1 year for Mr. Robot? I forget. At the Globes here. I guess really quick I can look that up and see. Okay, Golden Globe. Okay, yeah, he was nominated 2 years out of the Mr. Robot performances there. So yeah, actually they're on even footing on that way. But I think with Bradley also up for director, Star Is Born has more nominations than Bohemian Rhapsody. I'm sticking with Bradley there, but not going to be surprised if we do see Rami come up and steal this one. Okay, for the director race, I am sticking my guns on Spike Lee here. I am. It's definitely, something, BlacKkKlansman is another one. Focus Features and Universal in general. Well, Universal, I think, will get a couple wins with Green Book there. But with Focus Features specifically, I think they're going to want to reward them. They're going to want to reward the film. We've mentioned a few times this would be a historical opportunity to give Best Director to an African-American director. He's the only one in the bunch of the 5 nominated here. Yeah, so... Again, the noise on that historic win for African Americans has not been as loud. It's kind of a bomb that's waiting to go off at this point, but hasn't gone off yet. I think if he wins tomorrow, I think definitely that will push him forward. I think he can then win the DGA eventually. I think he'll get nominated there. He can win Critics' Choice potentially. BlacKkKlansman is another big critical hit along. And Roma is too though. Yeah, so I think definitely the safe money is to bet on Quran. I'm just kind of going off a little bit of a cliff here potentially with Spike Lee, but I just have a feeling, and if it doesn't, if it comes out it's just Quran, then okay. But anyway, that's where I'm going with that. Film comedy, I'm sticking with Green Book on this one. Vice, I think it's got its fans definitely, and 6 nominations definitely shows its strength there, but I just don't see it quite winning. The Favorite is another one. I have that one in 3rd place actually, but yeah, I think it's with Fox Searchlight there. I think they're going to want to give this one to something else. I think Green Book comes through there again, even though the family of Shirley has come forward, Doc Shirley off the film, to kind of attack some of the historical accuracies and Vigo's controversy and everything still. But I don't know. I just think Green Book, and I've word through the grapevine there is that they really did like Green Book. So yeah. Okay, then with film drama, I think it's A Star Is Born. Again, I'm hearing a couple of rumblings that Bohemian Rhapsody could actually pull this off, but I don't think so. And I get that there's a lot of people out there, including some of you who may be watching, who love Bohemian Rhapsody. I didn't love it. I thought it was good, not much more. But unfortunately, you don't really want it to win at this stage, because really at this point, all that has to happen, if it wins, is somebody has to step forward and say, hey, remember the fact that Bryan Singer directed this? Boom, and then it's hit again with that. And for the most part, I think 20th Century Fox and company, they've been really dancing around that issue very well, and it hasn't been really anything too big yet. We're not seeing a big backlash against it getting nominated for all this stuff, despite the fact that Bryan Singer's name is on it. And again, yeah, they haven't been pushing him for director or anything, and yeah. So I think it's Star Is Born, and I just don't feel that it's BlacKkKlansman. I think they'll like it enough to give it director if I'm right on that. I don't see Black Panther coming through and and all that. So I think it's Star Is Born. All right, so that's it for the Globes there. Let's real quick get into some PGA discussions here. Kind of talk about how that changed up my Best Picture predictions a little bit. Okay, so the nominations here were Black Panther, no surprise there. BlacKkKlansman, no surprise. Bohemian Rhapsody got in. Yep. Crazy Rich Asians, which I've been talking about that one getting in for PGA for a little bit. The Favorite is up there. Green Book, Quiet Place, which is a little bit of a surprise, but okay. Roma is in there, no surprise. Star is Born and Vice. Yeah, so when you look at it, you look at a few films like Beale Street missed. Let's see who else missed here. Crap, I had the list pulled up here, and they had. Let's see, but I know Beale Street was one I was like, why did that one miss? So that kind of put things into perspective for me. First Man was not on there either. I still have First Man in my Best Picture lineup, just in that, kind of down to the 9 and 10 slot era there. It could be this year's darkest hour where it gets a few of those tech noms, an acting nom potentially with Claire Foy, and then that's it. And then a picture, and then that's it. I pulled out Mary Poppins from Best Picture to put in Bohemian Rhapsody. I actually moved Bohemian up to 7th place, ahead of Vice, ahead of First Man, and ahead of Beale Street there. Yeah, Mary Poppins, I thought, it's been doing pretty well here in the States, box office wise. You can make the argument that it's been a slight box office disappointment here in the States, but worldwide it's doing very well. So that's kind of a surprise that one didn't get in. Let's see what else missed. Some people were thinking "Can You Ever Forgive Me" could get in, but yeah, I kind of forgot about that one a while ago. At least in the Best Picture race, I think it's still got its 2 acting nominations and screenplay. I think it's still got. I know a couple people were a little disappointed that 8th Grade and First Reformed and a couple more of those indie hits weren't in there, but yeah, you look at it. PGA, they've gone with stuff like as far as non-picture contenders like Star Trek, the 2009 reboot got in there one time. Look at Straight Outta Compton got in there a few years ago. So sometimes I do go with some of those bigger hits, So that's why something like Quiet Place makes sense here. Something obviously like Crazy Rich Asians, which I had that one down. Bohemian makes sense. That one has been rolling in dough. I think it's close to 700 million worldwide now. So yeah. Anyway, so that really, I think that really hits Beale Street hard. I think that one gets knocked down. I've got it down in the 10th position in case, just in the off chance they go to 10 nominations, which they mathematically it's almost impossible, but just in case, I have that one at number 10. And then First Man, and then Vice, and then Bohemian. Black Panther, yeah, I think that one's going to continue to do well. Favorite in 5th place right now. I don't know, I might change that. I think it's got a higher chance to get in than Black Klansman does for the win for Best Picture. And then Roma, Green Book, and Star is Born, yeah, easily, I think, are pretty much locks at this point. Yeah, so that's it. PGA, yeah, nothing way too surprising. I mean, Bohemian and Quiet Place, I think, were ones I would have put in, First Man and Beale Street instead, but yeah. Anyways, yeah, and then the documentary race, not a whole bunch of surprises there, really. Free Solo and RBG, Three Identical Strangers, Won't You Be My Neighbor made it in. The other three, excuse me, were The Dawn Wall, Hal, and Into the Coven, whatever that one is. And then we've got, pretty much our 5 for the theatrical animated films, except for Mireille, which maybe, I don't know, I think that qualified. Maybe it didn't qualify, and that's why they went with the Grinch there instead. But, excuse me, the other 4 got in. Okay, let's see. I think that really about wraps it up. We can go into a little bit, I guess, of the Kevin Hart stuff now. Just real quick. Well, that and The Favorite. Well, The Favorite, let me just talk about that one really quick here. I was, come down with a cold while I was watching it, so I was pretty distracted. But I thought the performances were all great. I mean, Emma Stone and Rachel Weisz especially really get some good ones. Olivia Colman is having a blast as the Queen. I think she's really great in it, too. Yeah, there were a couple points here and there where I was kind of a little lulls here and there where I was kind of waiting for stuff to happen. I thought the second half was a little better than the first half, but yeah, overall I enjoyed it. I wouldn't personally put Yorgos on the list for directors this year. I think he did a good job directing it and everything, and some of the fisheye lens kind of camera stuff like that. I can see him still getting in. I still haven't predicted to get in, but. Personally this year I'd rather go with, a few other directors out there. Like the guy who directed Hate You Give, who's, I don't know him personally, but can't even find his name here. I'm trying to look through here until I find his name, but I'm not seeing it. He did a great job directing that one, I thought. Yeah, Alfonso did great with Roma, and Spike Lee, of course, with Black Klansman. Yeah, yeah. So, anyways, but yeah. So overall, I enjoyed it. I think the script was pretty solid. You know, a few good lines here and there. A lot of vulgarity and a lot of profanity in the film for a period drama. Kind of costume drama there. But yeah, it kind of flips that idea on its head a little bit. So yeah, that wasn't anything that made me stop and really get angry at the film or anything. It's just it's doing its own thing. Yeah, that's kind of it on that. So I gave it an 8 out of 10. I think it's a solid film, and it's definitely the performances shine through. But there were a couple of low points in there for me personally, where I was just kind of like, okay, I'm kind of waiting for the next beat to happen there. All right. Then yeah, let's talk about Kevin Hart a little bit. So I actually, after everything that happened with Kevin Hart, I was kind of like, yeah, he's done. But now, excuse me, these now the winds have changed a little bit here, and he made an appearance. I watched it yesterday on Ellen, where he and Ellen sat down. Of course, you're going to talk to anybody, talk to Ellen, because she's a two-time host and everything. And if she, and I think she's speaking the truth there when she says that she personally got in touch with members of the Academy and said, kind of fought for him there. And really, as somebody who doesn't come from the LGBTQ community, I think she's just from the outside perspective there. Not to say I'm, whatever, but yeah, I think she speaks for a lot of people in that community, and she's definitely somebody that a lot of people look up to, whether or not you identify as LGBTQ or not. I think it's she's definitely a very popular daytime host and has been Oscar host for a couple of years, and of course has had a good career in film and television and everything. So I think she's somebody people look up to, and I think she's a voice that people listen to and everything. Does she control Hollywood? No, I don't think she gets to the point where if she says Kevin Hart should host, that all of a sudden he's doing it. But I think her word definitely gets you a long ways there. And I think Kevin Hart, for the defense he had against 10-year-old tweets, which we kind of talked about that before, and I don't know if we want to get into it here, conspiracy theory stuff, but I do think this came from the right side of the government there, the conservatives, who were pissed off at people like Kevin Spacey and Harvey Weinstein, the white guys who got criticized for making homophobic jokes and for, obviously, what Kevin Spacey and Harvey Weinstein did and a few of the other ones there. That's another story with the rape and sexual misconduct and everything. But there's almost like an outrage from those conservatives who hate people like that getting called on it, but then people like Kevin Hart, who I guess had 10-year-old tweets, I was going to say Kevin James, but that's not it. James Gunn, I couldn't think of his name, sir. He got called out on 10-year-old tweets. That I'm convinced came from conservatives who were pissed off about that. And then stuff with a few months ago we saw with Morgan Freeman, where he got accused of a few misconduct stuff, and that blew right away. And I think the conservatives are pissed off about that. It comes down to a racist thing too, I think, ultimately, in that they want everybody who's ever had anything bad about them, kind of wiped out. If we're going to wipe out, the Weinsteins and the Spaceys and everybody, wipe out everybody else. I think that's where this attack came from. And also, again, the racist factor definitely applies there too. I think Kevin Hart made a great point, though, when he said, pretty much from now on, if you're announced to do anything big like an Oscar host or even a Golden Globe host with Sandra Oh and Andy Samberg, and everybody else there, if you're pretty much going to be in a spotlight like this, somebody, whether it's from the left or the right or the middle, doesn't matter, somebody's going to come at you and try to attack you like that. And I think he made a great point about that, and I think that's absolutely going to be true going forward. And I think he also, for his self-defense, saying, we don't have, in order to achieve perfection, you have to be, you have to have experienced imperfection. He had great lines like that in his speech. If you want to call it a defense, which, I don't see, he's apologized for it in the past, as he said multiple times. They showed a couple of tweets of his apologies from the past. They weren't just, puff pieces or anything. I think he was very sincere in it. I don't know. Some people are still calling his thing a defense, and they still don't want him. And definitely people from the LGBTQ community don't want him. And I don't know. Personally, I make this argument all the time. Narrative in film is about change. And if you want to apply that to real life, I think it definitely can be applied to real life too. We're not, who we are today is not who we were yesterday. Who we are today is not who we were 10 years ago, for the case of Kevin Hart and everybody else who's kind of been affected by stuff like that. and who we are tomorrow is going to be different than who we are today, easily. And I think that's something, if you're really getting your not to put it in this way, but if you're really getting your panties scrunched up and for stuff like that, I don't know. You just we're on different wavelengths, I think. So personally, for me, I've never been a gigantic Kevin Hart fan. Just me personally. I've seen, for the snippets I've seen of his stand-up stuff, that I find pretty funny most of the time. But when it's him in a film with a script and everything in front of him, usually the script doesn't service his talents very well, and instead he kind of has jokes that just don't land for me. Like I did see his Wedding Ringer, I think is the one he did with Josh Gad. Yeah, I did laugh at one of his jokes there. I don't know. We'll see how The Upside does. That's his new film. But yeah, I don't know. So yeah, he's said on Ellen and everything, and I guess he's kind of cementing that on social media where he says, I'm kind of reevaluating the situation. If Ellen was true, and I think she was right, where the Academy is adamant about having him back if they can. They said whatever we can do to make him comfortable on there, whatever platform we need to go to or whatever thing we have to do to get him there. They said, I think they wanted him, and that's why they initially offered it to him. I mean, it's not like, and people have to remember this too, the Academy, when they're picking hosts and they're picking people to represent them through hosting and through all, spokespeople and all that stuff, they don't just willy-nilly go out and throw a dart at a big dartboard that has all these pictures of celebrities on them and say, okay, that's the one. They vet these people, they talk with them a lot, it's not just an overnight process. So that's usually why we get the host announcements, usually October, November, December, around that time. It's very rare that we get something like when Jimmy Kimmel was announced to return to host last year. We got that right away just because, the ratings were, I guess, a little better than the year before, or whatever the thing was. But he's been ABC's golden boy for a long time. But yeah, there was definitely an error in that where I think everybody kind of wanted him back, and then last year was like, yeah, he did good, but we're ready for something else now. So I think Kevin Hart, I think he can do a good job with what it is. Again, as long as it's his material, as long as it's not somebody else writing out the entire script for him, I think he can adapt to it and he can really do a good job there. But yeah, and again, as far as the diversity thing, seeing more African Americans or women or whatever minority you want to choose there hosting. Yeah, okay. Yeah, as long as they can do a good job, then I'm always going to be in favor of it. I'm not, don't get me wrong, I'm not the guy sitting in the back saying, why can't we just have the white guy host it every time? No. I say whoever's best for the job, go get them. Or if it's somebody who, like in the Kevin Hart scenario there, excuse me, if they're good enough, and if I think they can do a good job, then yeah, I'll be in their corner. Absolutely. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes down. We've got a few weeks, I think, before they're going to really solidify everything. And I think, like I said, even though no matter how good Sandra Oh and Andy Samberg do as hosts this year at the Globes, there's going to be that kind of shadow hanging over them tomorrow night with that those conversations with Kevin Hart and the Oscars continue, hopefully. Or if not, if they get solidified, whatever, we'll see. Okay, so that's all I got for today. I'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully, I'll be a little better health-wise, but I'll plan on watching them. No live reactions for the winners. I'll just come back as soon as it's over and kind of go through, okay, here's what we got right, here's what we got wrong, here's where the race is going, and, the few surprises or whatever, what have you, we'll go from there. All right, so let's call it good there, and we will catch everybody here tomorrow. And if you're predicting the Globes, good luck to you. Even if we disagree on everything, or if we agree on everything, good luck to you. And we will catch everybody tomorrow.